back at it again with freezing time because, speaking to everyone at the same time just wasn't enough, and we also had to stop time itself because, we're omnipotent. Anyway, I've got Flynn here, and he created this hypothetical.
I'm back.
Well, created in quotation marks.
Yeah, creating quotations. I didn't steal this one from Reddit, actually, so that's good.
As a quick flex, I stole none of mine from Reddit except the Immortal Snail, but we never...
You stole none? I don't believe that. I don't believe you stole none.
Alright, whatever, go on.
I stole one of 3, so that's what, like, that's so, like, a 66% win rate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So, I'll give context to this hypothetical. One day, you have the power to just freeze time. The way it works is that everything is frozen in time, except for you. All objects are frozen unless you unfreeze them yourself by touching them. People have no idea time freezes, and cameras can't record things, they're at a standstill, unless of course you unfreeze the cameras. The rest of the world is in a standstill, but your age isn't, and you still age while everything's in standstill. So you can't just keep everything frozen forever and live forever. You can't be immortal. You'll still die.
Yay.
In this hypothetical, we're gonna answer things like what you're gonna do with your power. You're gonna use it for good or evil, somewhere in between. And then I'm gonna introduce a bonus part of this hypothetical later on.
I actually had a question about the hypothetical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, could we unfreeze time at any point willingly?
Yes.
All right, sweet. That's all I need to know because I wrote off that. Anyway.
Right. You're really wrong if you did. You got the whole thing. You did all. Alright, so would you like to? How many dot points do you have, Dan? Out of curiosity.
Well, what I did was I wrote down what I would do, and if I wrote down if I was evil, what I'd do. If I was a vigilante, what I would do. Like I could be like a hero. Like I could be a good person.
Like a really good concept for a novel. I'm gonna keep that in my notes. But
and a comic.
Keep that. Yeah.
Pretty much just a Flash. But
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like people like to gloss over the Flash as my father most powerful hero.
Yeah.
Like he is. He
can practically.
At least in the chat, he could probably be okay. Superman is as fast as the Flash. But assuming there was a Superman would be the fast, the Flash would be the fastest character in the Justice League.
Well, it depends. Yeah.
Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah. I somewhat agree. Anyway.
But anyway, so...
I also went on about shits and giggles, like what I do just for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, if we saw someone else doing it, which is
the bonus part, yeah?
Yeah. If we saw someone else unfrozen, would I kill them, leave them alone? And if I left them alone, would I befriend them and or become their enemy? And if I, freeze time and I kill them, or like I have a battle with them and I kill them.
Oh, so you're admitting to murder here?
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying it's a hypothetical.
Good to know.
It's a hypothetical, just like New Zealand. But if I kill them, does that mean I go insane because it's like I share this power with nobody? I often live years by myself just because I can't unfreeze time because everyone will notice how different I am.
Like an anime villain.
Yeah, like I'm sort of going down
I guess
the direction of depression because I'm alone. Because if you freeze time for so long,
you don't have to be. You can unfreeze whenever you want.
Yeah, I know that, but you're unfreezing and you're older, and people are going to know that, and you might not want people to know that, and so you stay frozen.
Only if you abuse the power. Only if you abuse the power. Like, if you freeze time for, like, a minute, and then you unfreeze it, you might die a minute sooner than you normally would have. You know what I mean? So it's only really if you completely abuse the power. Like, say you freeze it for, like, 5 years, then, yeah, people might notice. Well, but that's why I'll go into my stuff. But you can continue on.
Personally, first of all, I'll just say what I would actually do, but I'd definitely abuse it. I would abuse it. I'd have fun.
Yep.
I wouldn't do anything illegal because I couldn't live with myself. But I'm just saying that because there's a gun to my head.
So say you robbed a 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. Well, you can live with yourself.
Oh yeah, I can live with myself for that. I'm talking about the big stuff that I'm not going to do, like murder and inappropriate things. But what I would do, in a good way, is maybe, like, say I see someone on the street being a dickhead, quickly unfreeze time, punch him in the face, freeze it again. Bam. There you go. Just save someone's life. Or if I see a drunk driver, I'll just crash that car and make sure no one else gets hurt. Because I can live with myself if it's property damage. I probably couldn't if I just let someone die of a car crash. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because from the perspective of everyone else, nothing happened.
Oh, sorry. So you used to mean what you would do if you had this power.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Okay. Yep.
But it's not my final option. Like, I probably could be persuaded to do something else. Like, be a full-on vigilante. Like, the next Batman. I'll just save the day, and I'll be open about it as well, because what are people going to do? Come and kill me? Bro, I can stop time. So, yeah. That's what I'd do. What would you do?
Okay, well, that's pretty interesting. Oh, I did something similar with the podcasting. I think there's a lot of different routes you can go with this.
Well, first of all, we'll just say what we would do personally, and then go from there, because that way we have a good idea of where we stand.
I think the thing is, I don't really... Okay, actually, I do know what I'd do. Okay.
Well,
so you are the most powerful being of all time. You are essentially like a god, or a godlike being.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, okay, this is what I would do personally. You have all the time in the world. Literally all the time. Okay, like, yeah, you would probably die eventually if you, like, were in it for years, and you might die. Say you freeze time 60 years, and then you unfreeze it. Everyone else is still, like, the same age, and you'll be older, right? But say you use it wisely, and you could literally do anything you ever wanted. You want to become an expert in this topic? You can. You want to become, you want to, like, write a book, make a movie, become build something. You could do anything. You could do anything. Like, you have all of the time in the world. There's literally no excuse for you not to do anything, to not be able to do anything. You could, like, you would never have an excuse to do something irrational or rash, because you could freeze time and, like, sort yourself out before you do anything stupid. You could always, like, you could probably be the most easygoing, like, best person ever, because you would never, like, take your emotions out on people, because you can just always freeze time and just, like, you know, cool yourself down. What I would do with that power is I wouldn't really steal anything. I wouldn't, like, I wouldn't really be a vigilante either. But, like, I would learn everything I could, because, I can freeze time, and then I could become an expert on Shakespeare in the time where everybody else, for them, it's just blink of an eye. Nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like, I could become an expert at making music, and then make 100 albums. And for everyone else, they just could bite out of a sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Or, like, you could, like... So what's the point of, like, stealing money? What's the point of doing all that? You could... I'm like, sure, you could be cutting your lifespan short compared to everybody else. But, I mean... Like, I know that's what I would do. I would probably get every single thing ever done I'd ever want to do. Like, in theory, you could, like, freeze time, take a boat out to Disneyland, and, unfreeze time, maybe, and then, like, use a ride or something like that. You do whatever you want. And then you'd go back, and then act like everything was normal again, the same position, unfreeze time, and then nobody knows what happened. Because it's just, like, for all we know, Dan, people could be doing this right now, for all we know.
True.
But we don't know, because it's so seamless.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so I would do. I would probably just use it to learn and do everything I'd ever want to do in a short span as I could. Like, in theory, I could become an expert in literally everything.
Yeah, you could become the smartest person on the planet.
Yeah, in 1 second, in less than a second.
Yeah, it would just take a very, very long time.
Yeah, but no one else knows that.
But you'd have to do it sparingly. Like, I've got a test or an exam coming up, I need to know about this certain subject, instead of, cheating. You could learn about it in a certain time, but if you do it all in one sitting...
Yeah, you cheat tests.
If you do it all in one sitting, you're gonna, overdo yourself, and you won't be able to, think properly, and you'll come back and you'll be like, oh, I've just learnt everything in the span of everyone else's 0 seconds. It's like, whoa. What do I do?
You'd be powerful. You could do anything. You could apply to anything. You could do anything. You could sell anything. You could.
Well,
I think it's by far. Yeah.
Well, could you, like, with that knowledge that you've learnt, because obviously there comes knowing things by remembering them, and there's also knowing things by expanding on what you know to create a new thing. Could you create something like a way to cheat death? A way to, like,
you could,
because
you could make a cure for cancer.
Yeah, you could do anything if you're that smart, and being smart is more than just I know that 1 + 1 = 2, but with that
it is. Okay, go on.
With that amount of knowledge that you now know, you could go, well, I can explain why 1 + 1 = 2, and I can also expand on it by doing this, and you could cheat yourself out of death and pretty much get rid of the only drawback that the time stop has, which is age.
You don't stay young.
Yeah, that's
yeah, and you can do that. The thing is, but now wouldn't you get very bored? You get very lonely. You get a. But here's the thing, and actually no, I'll go into that later. Because there's a couple more things I want to talk about. Like, if you want, for example, if you want to be a hero, like you're about being a hero, you could freeze time, go to like some war-torn country, free a ton of take a couple of innocent civilians, put them on a boat, go all the way back, and then put them into, like, I don't know, just somewhere where they'd be safe.
Well, how do you know?
Unfreeze time.
How do you know that?
Go back to your place.
How do you know that they want that?
Well, look, let's make the assumption that you're in a war-torn. No. Well, did I say prisoner of war? Did I say prisoner or not?
No, you just said they were in a war.
Okay, I meant prison. Say. Okay, I probably should have said, like, say you're a prisoner, right?
Yeah.
You're like some prisoner. You're an innocent person who's in jail. And you can just move them. You can move them somewhere. And I know, but here's the issue with that. Like, yeah, like, would you want that? Like, you could do things which you might think are good, but they could be damaging. But that's why I think
it's also the thing that if that person is in prison, you would have to know for sure that they're in there and they're definitely innocent.
Yeah,
because just you can stop time.
Well, it's an example.
Know what's happened in
it's
the
an
past.
example. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like, it is something you could do. Or you could save someone who is in, like for example, a child who's about to be shot in a very poor country. Yeah. You could stop time and move that child away, so they're not.
Not even a poor country, just like anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Just anywhere.
And yeah.
In theory, could freeze time. Go to everywhere in the world ever, and then, like, move people out of dangerous situations.
And they'll call it God. New religion time.
Yeah, you could. And then there's, like, do you want people to know that you're the superhero? Like, could you prove it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because would you want people to know? It's like,
yeah.
Because what are they going to do? I don't think you'd be able to be killed unless it was, like, a surprise. But even then, it's like you're pretty much unstoppable.
Oh, okay.
If they dropped a bomb on you, I'm pretty sure you would die. But, like, that's it. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of things you got to consider. If you want to be known, there's always the chance that people will go after you, or people will start to praise you. And, you know, I don't know if you want to be praised. It's not the best thing in the world. With people knowing that it's you, you also have to have that, like, people could come after you, or people will start to worship you. And you got to really think, like, do you want people?
Well, a lot of these come down to, like, do you want to be a divine being or not?
Yeah, like, do you want to be a god?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought process, because you're thinking, well, you could do anything. It's really up to you what you choose to do.
That's pretty overwhelming. You could really do anything.
Like, it's scary. But there's things that you can't do as well. Like, if you have human decency, you won't do illegal things. If you are, someone who cares about the future of humanity, you might use it for humanity.
Yeah, like it absolutely comes down to who you are, because you could be a complete sadist, or you could be like a saint. You know what I mean?
And I think it's also a huge burden, especially if people find out it's you and they expect you to help the world. That is a huge burden. Like, why is it you that has to have that power to
Or-
stop time and help.
Or you could, or so they don't know. You could feel guilty if people
Yeah.
are still being hurt. You're like, why aren't I saving?
Yeah, like
Because you're a superhero.
I don't think there's any way in this situation where you actually like are happy. Like you're full on.
Well, and here's where I'm about to come in with the bonus. Is there anything you want to say before I go into that?
My message is, no matter what you do, if you get given infinite power, it's just like getting a lot of money. It really just equates to nothing in the end. Anyway, go on with your bonus.
Alright, well, here's where I'm going to throw a wrench into that. You could unfreeze people as well. What if you could unfreeze people as well?
Oh, yeah.
What could you do? Then you could do anything. Then you could.
Now I can do anything.
Now I think that gets a lot better because I think you'd be very lonely.
Well, you can unfreeze world leaders. You could unfreeze.
Unfreeze your mate, the boys.
You could unfreeze boys. Go fishing.
Just go. Yeah, man.
Unfreeze anyone you want.
The water unfreeze.
Wait, can you unfreeze animals?
Yeah. Assuming you can unfreeze animals and people. In this bonus bit.
Yeah. Alright. Sweet. Well then, you'd unfreeze a dog just so you don't get lonely. If you really want to keep yourself the only human, I reckon the only option you have would to be unfreeze a pet, like a dog, a cat, whatever. And that way you just feel a little bit less lonely. But if you want to unfreeze people, then you would unfreeze your friends or family or
depends if you want to tell people, or if you could just go around getting random people and be like, you get anyone.
The government.
We're gonna. Yeah, all this comes down to what kind of person you are. I think.
Yeah,
and so I think it's quite a.
It's not. Bad.
So some hypotheticals are going to be different, where it's not really about you as a person, but it's more about otherworldly stuff. But,
hypothetically, what would happen if this happened to the world? All that, The rest is, I think we've got the next two are hypothetically what would happen as our society, what would happen.
The next three, the next three, I'm pretty sure, which is the rest of this, which is the rest of the series. Let me check.
But with it's a responsibility.
I guess the fifth one is kind of what you would do, which I'm very excited to do the fifth one. But
same. But the one we did before as well with the telepathic message also comes down to who you are. And it really shows that you can, obviously you can't, change the world with these because these are hypotheticals. But if you could change the world, and that's big,
huge. It's massive.
It is huge. You could change the world. You could, but it depends who gets it. Who says that, we'd get it instead of some serial killer in the middle of a prison.
Yeah, like Carnage in Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, what's that? The guy from Fortnite. That guy, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. When Dwayne the Rock Johnson's fighting Kratos, Master Chief, Thanos, and Travis Scott when he gets pulled up by Ariana Grande and Rick Sanchez.
Yeah. And Kylo Ren and the Xenomorph
and you just keep going. But yeah, it's a responsibility, and as Uncle Ben once said to me, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, and I think it's a really good way to segue into what our editor just said in the chat. If you get a god complex, power corrupts. What if even though you might start off well-meaning, this power, what if I think the Spider-Man 3, the same Raimi trilogy, which is one of the best films of all time, really goes on to this quite well. It's my Discord profile picture. It's when Peter Parker gets Venom symbiote. You've seen Spider-Man 3, haven't you, Dan?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I know he gets Venom. Yeah. So when he gets Venom, with the symbiote, it kind of shows power corrupts.
Yeah.
It's I think that power will give you a golden complex and corrupt. So you have to be a very exceptional person, morally speaking.
You got to be someone who can handle power.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna be honest. I could not.
Oh, I don't think many people could. I think 98%.
It would have to be a rare set of people who really just have no other intentions than being good people.
Mr. Beast.
But then again,
I'm just waiting for Mr. Beast, like some tweet this brief. I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting for.
I'm waiting for something to show that he is a horrible person, but he is not. He is a genuine
until
person.
now, we'll cancel him for Squid Game.
Yeah, well, Squid Game.
As for now.
But then again, with the God complex, you also got people like Light Yagami who decided not. Like, at the start, he wanted to do good.
Also great.
He wanted to do good.
And they'll also type in the chat. Thank you.
he wanted to do good, but he didn't. Because...
For those who don't know Death Note, he's the main character. He's given a notebook where if he writes the name down of someone, he can keep... They die. And he starts off writing, like, criminals' names, but then, like, he kind of, like, corrupts them.
It devolves into him just wanting to hide himself, and he's killing innocent people to do that. And that whole idea is, if you can freeze time at the start, you might be like, oh, this is cool, I can freeze time, I'm going to help people. But then once people start figuring out that something's not right and they're trying to go against you, it's like, well, I'm going to stop these people who don't understand what's happening in order to keep what I'm doing. But that really loses the purpose of what I'm doing anymore.
You lose yourself in your own power.
Yeah, it's really like, it is about who you are as a person. And about if you're willing to save the day, if you're willing to not, if you just want to have fun, if you literally just want to have fun,
you just want to chill, especially if you can like unfreeze people. I think
you could. It really is. It boils down to those three main points of being a good person, which would be really hard to do, being a bad person, which would be really easy, or just having fun, which is kind of...
Which is probably pretty unlikely, because I think eventually you'd probably do one of the two.
Yeah, you can't stop time forever. Which sounds like an oxymoron.
Unless of course, you like use that time to develop something which could...
the only drawback... the only drawback is the aging.
Yeah. So, like, in theory, you just never use it, you just live a normal life, and you can only use it, like, when you have to.
Like when you're about to die. Like if you're in the middle of a gunfire.
Because say you don't like completely just abuse the power and you don't use it constantly, like you might only end up using maybe a year or two of your life. Which I would lose a year or two of my life to get that power. That's awesome. I would do that.
Yeah, I'd do that. But because that's a long time.
But then again,
that's a long time to have paused as well. Like if even spread out throughout your life, that is. And if you use it sparingly, that's still a long time. A whole year of just non-stop time is paused. Still, you know, it's really like it's up to who you are as a person. And to say that what I would do is to be a good person might not be 100% accurate.
You don't know, yeah. Well, I think that's like, I think no one would know.
No.
Unless you're like
unless it happens.
Yeah. Well, for all we know, we could. For all like we know.
Well, yeah. For all we know that it's just like New Zealand being a country. For all we know,
it's not real.
It could exist, but as of now,
it could be real. Yeah, for all I know.
As of now, it just doesn't.
Look, countries where sheep outnumber people 7-1, I just don't believe in them.
Like it's just. Yeah, it boils down to who you are as a person, whether you're good, bad, believe New Zealand's a country, or whether you just want to have fun.
What difference?
Yeah. What is the difference? But yeah, I thought that was a good hypothetical, because you really expand on it with how you feel about certain things, how you feel about certain things happening in the world.
What really separates this from the time message is like time message. That's like a one. That's not time message. Like the mind message. That's like a one thing. That's like the do or die. Like that's the what you can do will change everything. It's like this. Well, this you can use it how you want to. It's up to you. Like what you want to do with it. Well, with the mind message, it's like it's like you're either going to ruin the whole world or very best case scenario, like nothing happens.
Yeah. Well, no, I completely agree to some level.
Well, what do you mean to some level? Tell me where you disagree.
Well, it's, you know,
It's yeah. Go. No, it's fine. Take your time.
Just hold on. I'm just trying to get my mind together. It's
a big topic, though. It's understandable.
It is. Like, I like what we're saying now, we can say it very easily.
Yeah, articulate it quite well, yeah.
Easier said than done. And,
absolutely.
But yeah, no, okay, I agree.
Alright.
But
you can disagree then, it's fine. That's what podcast is for.
Do you have any bonuses?
I think another one I had is just what would you do? Like say like some organization like finds out, like I don't know, like if they're like terrorists or the government or whatever, and they're like, hey, can you use your power for this to help us do this? Would you accept? Do you think if somebody tried to, would you let somebody command you? Would you be like a weapon?
Like the Foundation.
You're like the Foundation.
Well, once again, that boils down to who you are as a person. Like,
which the editor put in the chat. Thank you, editor. You're actually carrying this entire podcast.
It does boil down to it, because if you're going to be a weapon of war, that's your choice.
You could you throw yourself into I don't know, anywhere, like, and then you just like.
Are they
in theory,
giving you a choice?
you could go deactivate. It could be your choice. It could not be.
Like,
Because
is the government coming to you and going, "Do you want to do this?"
Yeah, let's say for the sake of argument, yes. It's like the government's come to you and said, "Hey, we know you're doing this. Can you help us?"
And they say you can say no.
Well, they can't really do much if you say no, because you can just freeze time and just kill them all if you wanted to.
True.
Like, because also, if people find out, you have to live your life in fear. If the government found out, you have to live your life in fear.
Yeah.
Because they might try to assassinate you because you'd be too powerful, too risky.
Yeah. And I get that. There's like a lot of ups and downs with it. You could be a really big war person. You could go into war and just absolutely win. You could walk all over everyone.
Yeah, you could be it's like this is why I say the Flash is the most powerful character in a DC, is because I guess in theory he kind of has this power.
Yeah, well,
I guess
it depends how you look at it, though, because from one perspective you see it as he perceives everything in the fast, like really fast, or the other one where he perceives everything in slow, where
like if everything's like so slow, it's like barely moving, like so. Like, I guess in a way that's what it is. Like you just like chill for a bit. But that's why I think this is the most overpowered power.
That's what in Marvel, that's what Quicksilver had, and that was confirmed.
Quicksilver, yeah.
But with the Flash, if you see it, it looks like he's actively running. And the way he runs, it would like take hours and hours in his perspective to do anything. And his fights would be so drawn out. And you've watched Invincible.
But yeah, I've seen it.
Red Rush.
I've watched the whole thing, but like if...
So Red Rush's character of being fast is that he perceives everything incredibly slow, even when he's in his downtime. Like, he was talking to his wife, and she was talking to him, and he said himself that these conversations take hours for me, in my perspective, when it's just a simple sentence. And that's like an interesting perspective.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It would suck, because your whole life is just,
boring.
You can't really do anything
about it, yeah.
Kind of, it would suck, except when you're like fighting heroes. But it kind of like puts up the question: how does he stand there for hours and listening to, other people give him instructions of what to do? But it's a bit different because time's not completely frozen.
Yeah.
It's just like slowed down a considerable amount.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, for this hypothetical, it's like on off. Like you decide, it's like it's either completely on, it's completely off. There's no in between.
But yeah, it's a good hypothetical. We're reaching that 30-minute mark. And
we are, all right.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything you want to say, we can just wrap it up, because I've got everything out I want to say.
I want to say one more thing, which is if you get this power, don't become light. Be a good person.
Don't be emo Peter Parker.
Yeah, don't be emo Peter Parker. Don't be what's his name from Breaking Bad. Don't be Walter White. Don't be
Walter White. Don't be
Don't be
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Don't be him. Don't be Chowder from that Nickelodeon show.
I hate that show.
Don't. Alright. Podcast is already going to be ending. Finding a new partner, wanted.
Oh, shut up. No, okay. I didn't mind it. I watched it on Cartoon Network and it was alright, but I way preferred like regular show. These would have got more adventures.
yeah.
I know they were better.
Yeah,
they were better.
They were
Chatter was
objectively better.
Chatter was
Still
decent.
Chatter
Chatter was for what it was alright.
Yeah, for what it was, anyway. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, and thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
And the next one's going to be one that I decided to do, which makes it better already.
It's called the Fermi. It's called the Fermi paradox. About aliens discovering our life.
It's a very widely known thing because it's like it is very interesting. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Fermi paradox, which is a hypothetical, right? But I know that people think it isn't. It is. It is explicitly a hypothetical.
I feel like it could be that or pseudoscience. I guess it could kind of fit into pseudoscience.
I don't think it fits pseudoscience because it is a possibility. Everything in it is, in some way, something that could happen. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that's a good segue. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Alright. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Will, for editing. Goodbye. Woo!